when you all were seeing action and they were shooting the big guns, what did you do?
Well, I was going to take a picture of a 5-inch gun that was on the fan table. And just as I took the picture, the thing fired. It knocked me back about 15 feet from the concussion and deafened me. I couldn't hear a thing. I went to the ship's doctor and he said, there's nothing I can do for you. Next time we get in Pearl Harbor, you go to the base where they got audiologist people who do ear doctor. And I was deaf for about 4 hours, and finally my hearing began to slightly come back until finally I could hear pretty good again.
So from then on, what happened when they were firing the guns?
I didn't get on the flight that and take it.
You sent somebody else.
Yeah. Well, any other strong memories of being out at sea or coming home or?
Well, when they dropped that bomb, the captain gave everybody 2 beers, which was not supposed to do at sea. You could, previous to that, we would stop at some little recreation island, and they'd give everybody 2 beers, and you'd go ashore and drink it. I didn't want any, so I gave mine away. They made me shore patrol. So but there was nothing to do, so I didn't want any. But when Captain broke up that beer, when the war ended, when the bomb was dropped and Japan surrendered, they were drinking beer up on the flight deck. And I said, Captain, you want me to take a picture of that? He said, you do, and I'll throw you overboard.
Well, now what happened when you all crossed the equator?
Well, you have a big initiation. The people who had crossed, the sailors who had crossed the equator before were shellbacks. And the people who hadn't, which I was among those who hadn't, are called powwows. And all day long there's initiations. Well, I hid most of the day, but they caught me. And first thing they did was put you in an electric chair and electrocute you.
Oh my God.
And pour water down your pants. And it's about a coil that raised the voltage from no telling what, 10,000 volts, but it had no current, so it wasn't going to kill you.
Oh, God.
But it sure shocked you.
Gosh.
And they gave me a shock, and I tried to holler, and all I did was open my mouth.
Well,
The chief photographer saw I was really hurting, and he came and got me. The poor officers had to go lie on a table, and they gave him a shave. It was an electric shaver that shocked, just like they shocked us, they shocked them. They had to go sit in the electric chair and then to go be shaved.
that's torture.
Yeah, today that would be called
That's right.
waterboarding.
A great big fat sailor with just shorts on, and he's sitting down, and you had to go kiss the baby's belly.
I'd rather do that than get
You
electrocuted.
knelt down to kiss him, and he had a handful of torpedo grease. Slapped you in the face with that, and it was hard to get off.
Well, how long did it take you to get home after Japan surrendered?
We sat in Guam Harbor for 30 days before starting home with those survivors of Indianapolis.
Wow.
And then it took probably a week to 10 days. It was about, I think, 16, I don't know how far it was. It was a long way. And we traveled at about 15 knots. This is about 1.8 miles.
So where did you get off the ship? San Diego?
San Diego.
And then how'd you get home?
Flew home.
Did soldiers
So
have
I
preference?
didn't think I could get a flight home. But I did. So the airline lady kept telling me to call back in an hour, and finally she said, I got you one. She was excited as always.
And so, do you remember what day it was when you got home? What the date was?
Well, no, not then. I had 30 days leave. And then they said, call.
So you weren't discharged yet?
No.
Oh.
Call Jackson to reassign for your next orders. Well, I didn't need but a point and a half, which is, at 30 days, I got a point. And then it was only a quarter of a point I needed, a couple of weeks to get out. So I called Jackson, they said, you got orders to go to San Francisco and catch a ship.
Mm.
And I said, hold it. Yeah. I said, I can get out. I got enough points to get out in 2 weeks. I said, if you call them, I'll pay for the call. Tell them that. He said, well, I can tell the type and it won't cost you. Call me back in an hour. So I called him back in an hour, and he said, you got orders to go to Algiers, Louisiana, and wait discharge.
Wow.
So I went to Algiers, and my foster sister and her husband lived close by.
Her name was Juanita?
Yeah. And in the George, and they had a restaurant. Every night I would go stay with them, and I'd eat with them in the restaurant. Then I'd go back to sleep. And they had nothing for you to do. But if you wanted to walk around the base, you had to go somewhere and get permission to walk around the base. Called it a walking chip. Well, I got one, and then they would assign you to do certain things. They assigned me to go clean the barracks with somebody else in charge. And when we got there, this guy in charge said, let me show you a picture of my girl. And he opened it up, and I could see he was a seaman first class. I was a second class seaman, part of the second class, which is like a staff sergeant. I said, you a seaman first? He said, yeah. I said, goodbye. And I left. It never worked again. About 2 weeks, they sent me over to New Orleans, there, Naval Air Station, to discharge. And they said, before we discharge, did the Navy owe anybody any money? Well, they owed me $36. I said, no.
You'd have been in another 2 weeks.
He said, tell us that you do, we won't delay you any. I didn't believe him. I said, no. I got my discharge and headed home.